let me know when you guys are ready and we'll dive straight into it.
Damn straight I'm ready to go. I've been waiting for this moment since you told us you were doing a one-shot. Let's get this game going.
How about you dial it back just a little there, Ben? I'm still getting my dice out.
Well, I fail to see why you wouldn't have had them out already. I mean, come on, you could have sorted that out before we started recording.
Right, well, I do things in my own time, not at 1,000,000 miles per hour like you.
Y'all talk too much. How about you shut up and we get this game going? Mike's excited.
You sure do sound excited, Mike.
I can't tell if you're being serious or just trying to take the piss out of me.
Easy there, man. Do I look like I would be stupid enough to take the piss out of you? I mean, any individual with 2 brain cells to rub together wouldn't do that, especially seeing as I'm sat right next to you.
Just to throw my opinion in, I think he was.
Nobody asked for your opinion, you little goon.
In fairness, I also feel like he was trying to mock you, buddy.
Is that true, Jordan? You taking the piss out of Uncle Mike?
I mean, I really wasn't, but if it came across that way, I really didn't mean for it to.
You're lucky I'm in a good mood, boy. Let's get this game going, Joe.
All right. Our story begins as you find yourselves in a hidden camp concealed within the dense, whispering trees at the foot of the towering, jagged peaks known as the Serpent Spine Mountains. The air is crisp with the bite of coming frost, a whisper of winter that hangs on the wind. The rugged silhouette of the mountains stretches into the twilight sky, their peaks lost to the shadows of the impending night. The camp is abuzz of hushed whispers and clandestine movements, shadows dancing in the firelight as figures move to and fro, their faces masked by cloaks and hoods. The scent of burning wood mingled with a hint of spiced ale hangs in the air. You are summoned to a secluded corner of the camp by a mysterious figure known only as Rollin Quickfinger.
I wonder how he got that name.
I don't know, but he's probably quite popular with the ladies.
Let's not make any assumptions about how his name came about or his sexual preferences. Joe, what does the figure look like?
He's a man, or perhaps merely the shadow of one. His features a blend of darkness and secrecy. His eyes, sharp and calculative, appraise you, weighing your worth and measuring your resolve.
Hey, bucko, are you just going to stare at us all day? Or are you going to tell us what's going down?
Finally, he opens his mouth as he says, "I've a task for you. A run through the serpent's spine, treacherous and fraught with perils. Your cargo? A lockbox of humble stature, containing certain items. These must reach Thalia Ironheart, a merchant who resides where the mountains kiss the sky."
Huh, why don't you do it?
Well, I can't. You see, I've got important business to attend to in South Viridia. That's why I got you guys in, because I've been told you're reliable, trustworthy, and above all, extremely efficient.
He really be trying to work the shaft. You telling us the truth there, Mr. Quickhands?
Of course I'm telling you the truth, and my name is Quickfinger, not Quickhands. Why would I lie to you? I'm paying for you to deliver this item for me. It's not like I'm making you go for free.
All right. No need to get a bee in your bonnet.
How much was the agreed sum of gold again?
600 gold each, half now, half when you safely deliver the item.
How much is 600 gold in US dollars, Joe?
There's actually no direct currency conversion for it, but for the sake of it, imagine 1 gold to be around $100.
So you're telling me that I gotta climb that big-ass mountain for $60,000? Nah, man, that seems weak.
He's right. The Pebble doesn't get out of bed for less than 100 flat.
We've already done the negotiating for this, guys. We agreed on 600 gold total.
Well, we're telling you that we don't want to do it for less than 100K each. Call it a renegotiation.
Guys, you're losing me a little bit. Can we use gold rather than dollars, please? Because it's kind of breaking immersion for me.
Yeah, guys. My example was just an idea of how it would translate into the real world. Do you want to try an intimidation check on him, Mite?
Well, I'm not trying to be intimidating. I'm just saying my ass ain't moving for less than 100K.
You mean 1,000 gold, right?
Shut up, man. Don't be correcting me like that.
So what are you trying to do? Intimidate him or persuade him?
I ain't trying to do nothing. I told you, I'm just stating facts.
It's just part of the game, Mike. If you want to change a character's offer, you'll either have to roll a persuasion or an intimidation check to get him to change his mind.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay, then I'm gonna persuade him then. I've got pretty high charisma, so this should be easy enough.
Awesome. Roll it for me.
Huh? What you wanting me to roll for you, Joe? You mean a joint? Because I thought you said we can't be smoking while we're recording this.
No, dude, I mean roll your persuasion check and tell me the result.
How'd I do that again, Joe?
Just roll a d20 for me, then add your persuasion modifier to it.
All right, okay. So which one's a d20, Joe?
It's the one that's got 20 sides, man.
They all look the same to me.
Look, I'll separate them out for you, like this. You see? So this one's a d4, then it goes all the way to your d100 here.
Ah, thanks, Dwayne. So I rolled a 70, Joe.
How are you rolling a 70 on a d20?
Look, I'm just saying what I rolled.
Well, clearly something has gone wrong.
Ah, so there's your mistake, Mike. You rolled a d100 instead of your d20. Here, roll this one.
Good looking out, man.
You're welcome.
So I rolled a 21, Joe.
Damn, that's good. What's your persuasion modifier?
It's +8. And if you think that's good, you should see my intimidation. That's plus 11.
Then why didn't you roll to intimidate him then instead?
I told you, man, I didn't want to intimidate him.
That literally makes 0 sense.
I tell you what, you play your character the way you wanna, and I'll play mine the way I wanna.
Well, with a roll like that, the man's eyes flicker momentarily, shadows of resistance dancing within them. His shoulders slightly sag under the invisible weight of your persuasiveness. A silent exhale escapes through his slightly parted lips, surrendering to your relentless pursuit of a better deal. His voice, once firm, now carries a whisper of resignation and a sprinkle of respect as he mutters, "Fine, but only because I know you're worth it." The words, although uttered in surrender, were spoken with an undercurrent of begrudging admiration for your tenacity.
You're damn right we're worth it. See, guys, sometimes when you know your worth, you gotta push that worth.
Consider me impressed.
With the renegotiated deal fresh in the air, he surreptitiously glides towards a cryptic lockbox concealed in the shadows behind him, the ambient light reluctantly revealing its presence. Glowing, vibrant, arcane glyphs gently caress its dark, aged wood, whispering secrets of ancient wards and concealed dimensions. As his arm, steady yet cautious, ventures into the box, it seems to pierce through a veil of tangible mysticism, bending the spatial reality before your very eyes. You also notice his hand, now enveloped by the paradox of the chest, travels unnaturally deep within its confines, teasing the boundaries of what should be possible. After a moment that stretches like an eternity, his arm emerges, bearing 4 petite satchels that softly clink with the promise of 50 platinum pieces each. He hands them over, his eyes revealing a cocktail of urgency and calculation. Right, well, this whole affair is incredibly time-sensitive. Reach your destination within 2 days, else you will miss her, therefore forcing me to dispatch another group to reclaim that coin I just gave you. His words linger, a subtle challenge and warning dancing within them.
I'm not sure the Pebble's little legs can move that fast.
Don't worry about it too much, Pebble. If them skinny legs of yours get too tired, you can always hop on my back for a little bit.
As the weighty resonance of platinum coin shifts possession, the path ahead crystallizes with a clarion objective, etched sharply into the unfolding tapestry of your destiny. A petite, enigmatic lockbox, barely more substantial than a handful even for you, Pebble, is bestowed into your collective care by the man, its secrets veiled. With a dismissive yet implicitly expectant wave, he sends you forth into the embrace of your quest. Elevating your gaze, the mountains ahead thrust resolute and magnificent into the boundless heavens, their peaks caressing the soft underbelly of the clouds. Only 2 days stand between you and the pinnacle, that and the enshrouded mysteries of what perils and trials may caress your path, looming in the silent shadows of anticipation. Fasten the resolve within your souls and bind your spirits with undaunted courage, noble travelers, for this is the Smugglers Run. So guys, what do you want to do?
Well, I say we need to begin moving. After all, there's plenty of distance to cover and not so much time to do it in.
I'd have thought that would have been obvious.
Look, there's no need to be like that, Soloman. It would help if you remembered who you're talking to. I could snap you in half with one hand.
To do that, you'd have to catch me first. Joe, I scanned the area in front of us. What does the immediate path ahead look like?
Give me a perception check, Solomon.
That's a 14 total, Joe.
Solomon, as your eyes rise to meet the expanse before you, the world seems to momentarily pause, inviting you into its embrace. An endless sea of trees, their bark darkened by age and wisdom, stretch out in haphazard clusters, their branches heavy with the delicate touch of fresh snow. It's as though nature herself has painted each leaf, each twig with the most pristine of whites. The moonlight, cascading from the heavens, paints silver streaks across the undisturbed snow, turning the scene before you into a tapestry of silvers and blues. There's no clear-cut path, only the gentle upward gradient suggesting a way forward. The soft hush of the winter night, punctuated only by the distant cry of a nocturnal creature, makes you keenly aware of this untouched place.
So what do you see? Don't be keeping it to yourself.
Why would I keep it to myself? Nothing really. I mean, there's no obvious path. The trees have been snowed on, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty goddamn cold already.
Pathetic. Humans are such fragile creatures. If anything, I'm too warm.
The Pebble doesn't experience the chill, but when I do, it's simply because I've granted the cold permission.
Yeah, it ain't cold, pussy.
Who the fuck are you calling pussy? You're literally an overgrown kitty cat.
But my dear Solomon, this feline knows how to bite, and unlike SteelJaw, I don't need to catch you to make you hurt.
Oh, you want to go, big boy?
Guys, we're regressing a little bit, and we haven't even started making progress yet.
All right, Joe. I want to cast light and then proceed forward slowly, making sure that there isn't anything hiding behind the trees.
All right, With a firm yet gentle resolve in your eyes, you extend your small gnome hand forward, whispering the incantations that beckon forth a gentle, glowing orb of light. It illuminates the space around you, casting a warm, comforting radiance that pierces through the serene, moonlit winter's night, creating a dance of shadows upon the snowy terrain. As you press forward, the snow beneath your feet whispers tales of solitude and untouched tranquility, the light revealing a path where none was seen. The trees, bowing ever so slightly under their frosty burden, seem to nod approvingly of your careful, respectful tread through their venerable domain.
All right, what the hell's going on with your phone, Joe? Can you switch that thing off?
I don't know, dude. I thought I put it on silent.
Well, just whack it on mute and let's continue.
It's Donald. He's asking me to tell Dwayne to stop using his spell.
Well, you can tell Donald to take his request and shove it up his pansy ass, because this is the Pebbles spell now.
Yeah, I'm just going to turn it off. The last thing I want to do is get into a back and forth with him. Right, where was I?
You was at Venerable Domain.
Ah, right, yeah. After a good quarter of an hour, the mirth of your journey halts abruptly as a somber sight unveils before your glowing guide. A human, encapsulated in a harsh, frozen repose, lies sprawled amidst the snow, an eerie stillness about him. His features, though locked in an eternal chill, whisper stories of a sudden chaotic end. Tattered remnants and icy winds are all that remain of what might have been possessions, and scattered around him, half buried in the snow. The remnants of broken arrow shafts protrude.
I want to see how long he's been dead for.
Good thinking, Mite. If we can determine how long it's been since his passing, then we can figure out if there is any immediate danger to us.
Oh, absolutely, SteelJaw. It's vital to consider the potential dangers. But, you know, I take my culinary pursuits really seriously. I just, I don't want to snack on something that's been sitting out too long. You know what I mean?
Huh. Cannibalism. I'm not sure I should have expected anything different.
I'm not sure that applies seeing as he isn't human, which raises the question, would it be considered cannibalism if you ate a cat?
Why would I eat a cat?
No reason. Don't worry about it. I was just thinking out loud.
Roll a medicine check for me to see if you can tell how long he has been deceased for.
That's a 4.
Amazing.
Mite, with a roll of 4, a whisper in your mind assures you that he's absolutely fresh enough to avoid any culinary repercussions should you indulge in such a grisly affair.
Without being metagamey here, why are we wasting time wondering if you should eat a frozen man when we are absolutely under time pressure to make it to the top of the mountain?
I know, but just a little nibble won't hurt.
Joe, I drag him away from the body and up the gradient.
If you could both roll strength checks for me.
That's a 13.
Okay, well, I rolled a 22.
SteelJaw seizes the scruff of your neck with a firm, unyielding grip, abruptly pulling you away from the tragically icy morsel you whimsically considered. His overpowering might denies any chance of protest or struggle from your form. You are dragged, your form half hovering, half gliding over the snowy floor of the forest, creating a path of disruption in the otherwise pristine white blanket covering the earth. A 2-minute journey, marked by a tense stillness punctuated only by the gentle crunching of snow underfoot, draws you inexorably away from the frozen scene of demise. When SteelJaw finally relinquishes his grip, the dense forest stands between you and the forsaken body.
What the hell did you drag me away for? Now I've got to walk all the way back to get it.
Let's get one thing straight, Mr. Bite-Ya. We're here to do a job, not snack. Snacking can come later, when we have the rest of that platinum securely in our pockets.
Joe, now that we're a bit further up, can I see any obvious pathway up the mountain, or is it just going to be a case of scaling it?
As you ascend the last stretch of this deceptively gentle gradient, you find yourselves granted an unanticipated perspective upon the scene unfolding before you. A glance reveals an enthralling paradox of resilience and abandonment, a mini-fortress, seemingly surrendered to the relentless tide of time, yet persistently defying it. This stone sentinel, embroiled in an eternal struggle against the elements, emerges forlornly from the crisp veil of the wintry air, its desolation poignantly enmeshed with the towering, majestic mountain beside it. There's a solemn beauty in its decay, as its eroded visage silently narrates tales of battles fought, both physical and against the insidious creep of time itself. In a symbiotic existence with the fortress, the mountain presents its own daunting tapestry, perilous ice-sheathed slopes that seemingly sneer at your mortal endeavors, yet, in a cruel contradiction, seductively whisper of secrets concealed within its frozen confines.
You know, if I was a betting man, I'd say that there could be a way for us to ascend at least a portion of the mountain within that fortress.
I don't know, man. I think there's probably a reason why it's abandoned. Why don't we just start scaling it? I mean, We've all got some rope. It can't be that difficult, surely.
Joe looking up, are there any plateaus or ledges visible?
Give me a perception check, buddy.
Nice, that's a dirty 20.
In Celestia's memory, can we call it a tainted 20, please?
Sure, whatever, man, it makes no difference to me. Joe, I rolled a tainted 20.
Soloman, casting your gaze upwards, your eyes trace the formidable rise of the mountain, where the fortress appears not merely to reside beside the stone titan, but rather to become one with it. The fortress, it seems, melds seamlessly into the mountain's very being, with architectural protrusions, remnants of walls and battlements defiantly punctuating the rocky ascent above.
See? It'll be a nice, easy climb. We can even take a few breaks on the way up on some of them outcroppings.
Or, and hear me out on this one, we can go through and up the fortress.
Why'd you want to go up the fucking fortress so much? You're a big dude. Surely, you're not afraid of heights.
I'm not a fan of them, no. So if we could avoid them, that would be greatly appreciated.
Oh, man. Why didn't you just say that from the get-go?
For the life of me, I will never understand why you took this job on if you're scared of heights.
Well, I didn't want to let you guys down. I could see how much you wanted to do it, and we haven't exactly had the best of luck with finding jobs recently.
Damn, what a good man. See, take a note out of SteelJaw's book, everyone, because that is how you work as part of a team.
Joe, I walk up to the entrance of the fortress to see if I can find a doorway leading inside.
Mite, your keen tabaxi eyes draw towards the massive entrance, where the obscurity of distance veils the finer details, but through it all, you discern elemental symbols, fiery tongues, tranquil waves, solid rock, and swirling winds embossed upon the hefty wooden gates. Intricately carved and stark against the aging wood, they seem to pulse with a latent arcane resonance. 4 stone pedestals, symmetrically aligned with the embossed elements, linger ominously nearby, their purpose shrouded in mystery. You feel a silent caution in the air, as if the fortress itself is watching your every step.
Hey guys, you might want to come over here. It seems like it's some kind of puzzle.
Ah, I think I know this one. Does anyone know the Elvish word for friend?
I think you're barking up the wrong tree there, Pebble.
I think it's melons.
No, it's melon, but honestly, I don't think that's got anything to do with this puzzle.
I walk closer to it, Joe, examining it thoroughly to see what's going on.
Stepping closer, the air tingles with the scent of ancient magic, and the elemental engravings on the door come alive under your scrutiny, their details vividly illustrated through centuries-old craftsmanship, delicate yet potent. To your left, the pedestal associated with fire holds a sturdy, untouched torch, its material seeming neither wood nor metal, yet a fusion of both, untouched by time or decay. The water pedestal on the opposite side cradles an ornate basin, dry, yet stained with the myriad hues of once-contained liquids. The earth pedestal centers a leather pouch, softly quivering, from which a faint murmur of shifting soil can be sensed. Lastly, the air pedestal gently suspends a delicate, unyielding feather, hovering within a transparent, ethereal force field. Above the foreboding gates, cryptic runes whisper tales of forgotten languages, their meanings teasingly just beyond your grasp. Gargoyles, stoic and silent, perch high above, peering down with gem-like eyes that gleam with a dormant, magical intensity.
Hey, look at this. Glowy symbols. Some mystical mumbo-jumbo. Should I punch it?
Aren't you supposed to be an arcane practitioner? Why would your first go-to be to fucking punch it?
You see, it's a bit of a spectacle, my magic-making process. I serenade the universe, and it can't help but blush and bend to my whims. I whisper sweet nothings into the ether, and voila, it conjures whatever my heart desires. It's like writing a poetic love letter to the cosmos.
Nice. Anyway, element symbols, especially in an array such as this, tend to allude to a specific order or combination, a means to unlock or activate something.
So, elements have a way of interacting with one another. Fire consumes air, water extinguishes fire, and earth can absorb water.
Okay, and I'm assuming that in order for one of them to be activated, something of that element has to be added or used on the pedestal. For example, air would be blowing into it, or using a wind-based spell.
But how do we know what the correct order to activate them in would be?
Well, that's just it. There's no way of knowing for certain. So let's break it down. What are the possibilities of activation order?
Well, first you got alphabetical, so earth, air, fire, and then water.
Actually, Mite, it's air.
Joe, I claw out some dirt from the floor and throw it onto the earth pedestal.
With swift, purposeful strokes, your claws disturb the serenity of the snow, revealing the reluctant earth beneath. Eagerly, you cast it upon the pedestal. As it makes contact, a vibrant illumination swallows the soil whole, a glowing essence thrilling through the altar. Almost instantaneously, the previously dormant gargoyle statues awaken, their eyes ablaze with an arcane fire. Before a moment passes, they unleash a furious volley of magic missiles, each one seeking its target with unerring precision. All right, so that's 2 damage to Soloman, 4 damage to the Pebble, 1 damage to SteelJaw, and another 4 damage to Mite.
Ouch.
You know what? Going forward, how about we don't rush into things?
I'm sorry, I just got a little excited.
Well, at least now we know what happens if we get it wrong.
You're such a glass half full kind of guy. Anyway, what I was going to say was that if we're going off alphabetical, it would be air first, buddy. But I'm not convinced that it would be something so simple.
What about the order of which the elements came into existence? You know, with the creation of the material plane?
That's a good call, but do any of us actually know the order of that?
Anyone who wants to can roll a history check to see if you can figure it out.
Joe,
Yeah, buddy?
instead of rolling a history check, could I roll a charisma-based check to see if there are any poems I remember that convey the birthing of life?
Yeah, sure, why not? Roll a d20, then add your charisma to it.
Well, I rolled an 11.
Yeah, only an 8 from the Pebble.
Even worse for me, guys. I got a 4.
Excellent. I rolled a 23 total.
Nice. Okay, so take this card. This is what order you know to be the creation of the elements to be.
Oh, okay, great.
I feel like since you got that information from your knowledge of poems, you should share the poem with us, Mite.
Oh, I will happily share it with you all. Joe, I pull out my triangle and start playing it whilst I recite the poem.
Why is he making them noises?
He's just getting his vocals warmed up.
In the void stark and bare lay potential rare and fair. Vast darkness, a canvas black, awaited light to find its track. First came fire, a fervent seed, sparking worlds with wanton need. A dance of flames, a birth so bright, shattered the eternal night. With fiery birth and brilliance rife came the second, the breath of life. Air did twirl, an airy strand, giving wings to ember's brand. Yet fire and air, a vagrant pair, sought solidity, firm and fair. Thus earth arose, a sturdy cradle, grounding air and fire stable. Water next, the shapeless flow, quenching earth in soft aglow, uniting, mixing, melding forms, in ocean depths and thunderstorms. A cyclic dance of four they be, creating worlds in symphony, in fire, air, earth, and sea. Life finds its vibrant melody.
That was beautiful.
Impressive, dude. So much so that I'm going to give everyone an inspiration die from that.
Nice.
Top-notch performance, buddy.
I was so entranced by the skill you have as a poet and musician that I still have no idea what the actual order of them is.
Oh, thanks, man. It's fire, air, earth, and then water.
Where did you learn to play the triangle with such elegance?
My mom and my dad are Will and Cud.
Mr. Will bite you and Mrs. Cud bite you. Nice.
Joe, I make my way over to the fire podium and cast a firebolt into it.
Okay, I'm not going to make you roll to hit because I'm assuming you're doing it at point blank with 0 time pressure. However, because we decided to amp up your wild magic, I'm going to need to roll to see what effect takes hold. For everyone watching at home, the Pebble wanted to add more risk and reward to his wild magic, so we implemented it into his backstory, but now all of his spells, including cantrips, set off his wild magic, which we have modified accordingly.
Why would you choose for that?
Because the Pebble's crazy, baby.
Ha! Okay, suddenly your right hand tingles, as though tiny ants are marching across your skin. You flex your fingers and your palm begins to contort, creating a peculiar sight. Your skin shuffles and forms into a small, meticulous mouth, crafting a precise tiny grin that seems both warm and mildly scheming.
Ah, what a splendid day to embark upon a whimsical adventure. However, it's quite the perplexing predicament we've found ourselves in, I must say.
What the fuck is that?
I'm going to be honest with you, SteelJaw. There's going to be a lot of things happening that I absolutely do not have a clue about. And yes, this is one of them.
Damn, I wish I had a talking hand.
Ah, dear feline friend, how marvelously enticing the notion. I too wish I could grace your paw with such spirited conversation. Regrettably, there is but one dashing hand such as I, and I reside here amongst the digits of the Pebble. But chin up, for the pleasure of my company shall be enjoyed vicariously through our shared endeavors.
I don't like him.
How long did you say this is going to last for, Joe?
It will last for around 10 minutes.
So we've done the first element and no magic missiles, so that's a good sign. On to the next one, air. Joe, I walk up to the air podium and blow into it.
SteelJaw, you stride purposefully towards the podium of air. Your muscular form casts a formidable shadow upon the delicate feather upon its surface. Raising your rugged, battle-worn hand to your mouth, you exhale a deep breath, slow and deliberate. The feather begins a gentle dance, pirouetting upon the upswell of your breath before catching an unseen zephyr and swirling, a luminous glow gradually emitting from its form. An ethereal hum fills the space as the essence of air responds, encapsulating the moment with an eerie tranquility, suspending time in its weightless embrace. The mystical glow cascades from the feather, enshrouding the podium with a gentle caress of pulsating energy, signaling the acceptance of the offered breath.
Great. Okay, let's get this wrapped up. I continue on to the Earth podium, Joe.
Okay. As your mighty form takes a deliberate step toward the Earth podium, an unsettling shift permeates through the ambience of the fortress entrance. The gargoyles once again begin to emanate a vibrant, pulsing energy within their dormant eyes, conjuring a tempest of arcane foreboding. Also, the tranquil glow which gently caressed the fire and air podiums now contorts into an irate dance of fervent and hostile hues, menacingly articulating their silent disapproval. You get the feeling that once you have activated one podium, you cannot move away from it, else you will be pelted with magic missiles.
Oh dear chap, I'd firmly plant those boots right where they are if I were you. From my well-versed experience as a spell-induced chatterbox of a hand, it behooves my keen sensibility to kindly suggest that each of you engage with a separate podium individually. So tally-ho, and let's avoid any unscheduled magical mishaps.
The talking hand's right. Each of us needs to do a separate podium.
The talking hand is always right.
Well, in that case, I guess I pick up a bunch of dirt and throw it onto the Earth podium.
Soloman, you stoop to the frost-encrusted ground, your fingers nudging against the chilled, hard-packed earth. With a bit of effort, you manage to pry loose a clump of frozen soil, its icy sheath glittering faintly in the ambient glow of the activated podiums. You loft it towards the Earth podium. The clump mid-flight pauses for an ethereal moment before it is gently dismantled, grain by grain. Each particle of soil, enveloped in a warm, earthy glow, spirals gracefully downwards, integrating into the podium with a soft, grounding resonance. The earthly symbol upon the stone, once subdued, now pulsates with a vibrant, verdant light, harmoniously intertwining with the energy of the fortress.
Awesome. Okay, Mite, it's your turn. Throw some snow or something into the water podium.
I was thinking that, but I really need to piss. So you know what they say when life gives you lemons?
Oh God, no. Please don't piss on the ancient fucking magical fortress.
Too late. The waters be flowing. Joe, I run up to the water podium and release the stream.
Mite, you saunter up to the water podium, your audacious intent clear, your offering arcs gracefully through the chilled air, making contact with the podium. For a brief moment, the platform seems to shudder, almost as if recoiling from the unexpected gift. A faint ripple of resistance emanates through the glyph before it begrudgingly begins to absorb the liquid, each droplet being pulled reluctantly into its form. There's an awkward pause, a momentary standoff between the structural sanctity of ancient magic and the unapologetic audacity from yourself. Then, slowly, a begrudging acceptance as the glyph starts to glow, albeit with a flicker that almost signifies a noticeable disdain. But nevertheless, the element of water has been acknowledged, and your unorthodox contribution dissolves the barrier to progression.
Oh, splendid trajectory, old chap. Quite the well-aimed deposit, I must say.
Thanks, Hand.
If my calculations are correct, that should be everything we needed to do.
SteelJaw, Mite, Soloman, and Pebble, as you each respectively place the elements upon the pedestals, a collective profound silence blankets the frigid air. The tension is tangible, nearly visible in the frosty breaths that escape your mouths. Your anticipation meets a symphony of creaks and groans which emanate from the ancient colossal door before you, speaking the language of mechanisms long dormant, now sluggishly stirring from their slumber. The atmosphere subtly shifts as your gazes lock onto the expectant parting of the doors, yet contrary to your anticipations, they remain unyielding. Instead, an anomalous spectacle unfolds, an almost imperceptible whir, a vibration in the ethers, amasses in the center of the gateway, distorting the very fabric of the reality before you. Within moments, the tiny rift expands, swallowing light, air, and shadow, forming a singular void that wrenches at your very essence. And in an insatiable maw of gravity, it pulls, demands you inward, the world folding in a tumultuous tunnel of fractured images and disjointed time, and then darkness.
I cast light, Joe. Also, I've only just realized that we never rolled for the wild magic surge when I cast light previously.
Well, if I forget in the future, it'll be on you to point it out for me.
Ooh, am I getting a companion?
We'll soon see, Hand. Okay, Joe, I cast it.
Pebble, Your fingers dance with the familiar cadence of arcane energy, weaving and pulling the threads of magic through the cavernous void surrounding you all. The words of the spell echo in the blackness, a solitary whisper amidst the emptiness, and light bursts forth from your outstretched hands, cascading in every direction to unveil the indeterminate expanse you now occupy. Simultaneously, an unexpected warmth emanates from your very nose, drawing your eyes upward in perplexed curiosity. The next moment, a luminous beam of light propels outward, an additional beacon in the shadowed abyss. Your nose, seemingly now a lighthouse of sorts, bathes your immediate surroundings in a bright, steady glow, its rays reaching out further into the darkness with a more subdued illumination.
Oh, goddamn, aren't you just a never-ending bag of tricks?
And I'm still here, which makes me wonder, how many effects could you get going at the same time? I'd certainly be interested in finding out.
With that attitude, anything is possible, Mr. Hand.
You see, I've always found a certain comfort in predictability. I plunge my dagger into a man's heart. He ceases to be. An arrow severs a rope. It is cut. There's a reliable, tangible logic to it, isn't there? But your magic, Pebble, it defies expectation at every twirl and swirl of its existence. Your spells, which are your principal means of influence and defense, may I add, are enshrouded in this chaotic unpredictability. Does it not unnerve you? To unleash a power that could spiral into the ludicrous, or even turn the tides unfavorably against us?
Well, it doesn't bother me one bit. You see, for every little hiccup my magic might have, there's another time where it works out just peachy. My magic, it's like a seesaw, always going this way and that, keeping things lively, and you know what? I wouldn't want it any different.
That was so goddamn beautiful.
Sorry to break you guys off from discussing the pros and cons of the Pebble's chaotic magic, but are we going to acknowledge that we have been transported inside of the fortress? And you know, there's hundreds of cages with dead people in them.
Oh, don't worry about them, SteelJaw. They're dead. They can't hurt you. And even if they were some of them moving dead people, they're trapped in a cage.
I meant more along the lines of who put them in that cage and why.
I mean, it probably wouldn't hurt to get some insight into how long they have been there for. Joe, is there any way that I can climb up to where they are hanging and try to investigate to see how long they have been dead for?
Roll me a perception check.
That's a 16, Joe.
As you glance around with the assistance of the pebbles, illuminating beacons of light casting flickering shadows upon the cavernous walls, you notice a precarious pathway tracing upwards to where the cages dangle ominously in the void above. Your eyes catch onto a series of jagged, ancient rocks and dilapidated platforms, creating a semblance of a route toward your eerie destination. They've been worn smooth in some parts, testaments to the passage of countless years. Each tier of the route upwards appears fraught with the peril of age and neglect. Vines, twisted and fibrous, drape loosely between some of the platforms, while others appear accessible only by treacherous leaps across yawning abysses. Your eyes discern that some of these platforms seem unsettlingly unstable, quivering slightly in the fortress's chill, drafty wind.
Right, well, it looks pretty treacherous, guys. I'm not going to pretend it doesn't. But I think if we're going to advance into this fortress, we at least should have some idea of what's going on. What do you think?
I don't want to hear it, Soloman. Not a single word about clambering up there, you hear? It gives me the damn shivers even thinking about it. You do what you gotta do, but spare me the details, all right? I can't stomach it, and I don't need those images in my head.
All right. Well, what do the rest of you think?
Do what you gotta do, man. I got every faith in you.
You should do it, man. You're the most equipped to deal with this, and it certainly wouldn't hurt to figure it out before we proceed. And hey, if you fall, we'll catch you.
Great. Well, that fills me with positivity. All right, Joe, I begin my way to the wall and start my ascent.
Soloman, your every step echoes in the vastness of the fortress as you bravely approach the base of the daunting wall, its sheer height disappearing into a shadowy abyss above. You survey the route upward, eyes calculating, fingers gently grazing against the cold, rough surface of the stone before you. Your first challenge, a sprawl of somewhat evenly spaced, albeit fragile-looking handholds that venture upwards about 20 feet. A series of formerly secure stonework now eroded by time, presenting a precarious climb, but climbable nonetheless. With a deep, steadying breath, your fingers curl around the first ledge and you pull yourself upwards, carefully testing each handhold and foothold before committing your weight to it. I'm assuming you want to do this with as much finesse as possible, to utilize your acrobatics rather than it being strength-based?
That's correct, Joe.
Okay, well give me an acrobatics check.
Joe, as a safety precaution, I'm going to go ahead and give Soloman a bardic inspiration.
Okay, Mite, so how do you inspire him?
I'm going to give him some inspirational poetry. Whoa, Soloman, climb that fucking wall. Keep your grip or you'll surely fall. Heights be damned. They can kiss our rear, ascend with guts, and squash that fear.
So talented.
Okay, so for the next 10 minutes, you have a D8 inspiration die you can use.
Okay, well, I'm not going to need it just yet, because that's an 18 for a 29 total.
Holy Mother of God.
Fucking incredible! Soloman, with a deftness that seems almost celestial in its skill, you launch yourself towards the wall. Your fingers find the smallest of holds, crevices mere whispers in the stony surface, yet they might as well be sturdy rungs under your confident grasp. Your ascent isn't merely a climb, it's a fluid, vertical dance, an exhilarating display of human agility meeting insurmountable odds. You spring, twirl, and caress the stone, not fighting it, but becoming one with it, moving upward with a breathtaking ease. Every leap and grab becomes an embodiment of precision and poise, and within moments you've scaled an astonishing 20 feet, making the daunting verticality seem almost inviting, your form merely a blur of effortless motion to those watching below. Upon reaching a sturdy, albeit narrow, ledge, your route splinters into two potential paths. To your left, a series of exposed yet sturdy-looking beams, remnants of some long-forgotten structure protruding horizontally from the wall. It's a thinner path, where balance will be your ally yet might provide a brief respite from the relentless pull of gravity. To your right, the stone wall continues, albeit with a noticeable incline now, leaning more generously towards you. The holds appear more sporadic and unreliable, but a quick survey reveals the existence of a few sturdy, if not heavily weathered, platforms distributed sporadically on the route upwards, which could potentially offer brief moments of respite.
Hey, SteelJaw, you should see how this man can climb. He's like a spider.
I told you, I don't want to know. I'm not looking. I'm not going to look. Leave me alone.
Wow, he must be at least 30 feet up by now.
Can you shut that fucking hand up before I chop it off?
Whoa, well, there's no need for that. Don't listen to him, hand. He's just stressed.
Don't worry about me. I don't feel emotion. I'm just a hand.
I'm going to go for the steeper incline, Joe. After all, time is of the essence, and it really hasn't given me much trouble so far.
Okay, give me another acrobatics check then, Soloman.
Wow, I'm not even joking. I rolled a natural 20, so that's a 31 total.
Jesus! You're something else, man!
You know, our group really does make me proud. We have everything. We've got the spider, the poet, the giant, and the man with the hand.
Ooh, that's me. I'm the hand.
Yes, you are.
In a stunning display of not merely athleticism but sheer defiance against gravitational norms, Soloman, you pivot, eyes locking onto the challenging incline to your right. Without a second's hesitation or a bead of visible sweat, your legs coiled springs of unparalleled tension, you explode upwards. Each point of contact with the wall is ephemeral, a momentary kiss of boot to stone. Rocks that jut out menacingly transform under your intrepid assault into launch pads for your ceaseless ascension. Those platforms, weather-beaten and time-worn, see not a moment's rest beneath your feet before you're already skyward once again. It's as though the universe itself pauses, holding its breath in collective awe as you, Soloman, pirouette and vault between each precarious hold, an unwavering comet streaking fearlessly upwards. The eons of erosion, the millenniums of wear and tear on those holds, they crumble under your relentless agility, and yet it's not enough to hinder your ascent. For a moment, those watching from the floor below could swear they witnessed you walking atop the very air itself. So light and sure is your progress. Your figure, merely a silhouette illuminated by the still glowing nose of the pebble below, reaches the skeletal cages suspended high above, the ghastly remains therein rattling perhaps in some spectral applause for the living, daring amidst their aerial tomb.
Woo, well that was quite the adrenaline rush. Joe, what can I see from here, and how far are the cages away from me?
Slightly above and to your left, about 15 feet away, the first of the iron cages sways gently, its skeletal occupant clattering softly in a morbid dance propelled by the unseen drafts of this cavernous abyss. The air here is noticeably chillier, a stark contrast to the sweat forming upon your brow, whispering tales of the dead and the forgotten through the rusted bars of their eternal prisons. Chains, impossibly old yet still strong, stretch upwards into the darkness, their attachment points hidden by the cavern's gloom, even despite the pebble's radiant aura below. As your eyes adjust, you notice the cage directly adjacent to your position is oddly ajar, the rusted lock corroded away by centuries of neglect. Inside, the brittle bones of a long-dead being clutch desperately at a faded satchel, its contents a mystery, veiled by time. Beyond it, another cage, this one intact, sways tantalizingly, with an opaque crystal vial clearly visible amidst the skeletal remains.
Well, what do we have here then? Because it looks like we've got ourselves some lutations.
I don't know what you're talking about, but be fucking careful when stealing from the dead.
Why? They ain't gonna fight back.
You say that now.
15 feet? I can make that. All right, Joe. I want to lean off the wall with one hand before kicking off and vaulting myself onto the cage.
Okay, well, this one is going to be an athletics check, as you will be using the strength in your legs to propel you forward.
If you loved what you saw, go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe, and share it with anyone else who you think would enjoy it. Oh, and make sure you tune in for part 2 in 2 days.